My mom has a phrase that I absolutely hate.
And one of my favorite sayings is, it is what it is. Don't sweat the small stuff because it's really not worth it. And you just live your life day to day. And that's why I always say, it is what it is.
Oh, I hate it so much. And it's nothing against her. I just don't understand how something can be so important to someone and then you simply brush it off as
it is what it is.
If you're anything like me, you grasp desperately onto your hard work and your plans. It's so hard when something just doesn't go the way you expected it. There's so many times I wish that I could just reverse time and run it again. If we could just have one more chance, then we could be successful. We could say all the things that we needed to say if we could just have one more chance. I sat down with my mom originally to talk about the idea of change. I was hoping that this moment would be super inspirational, where I realized that as we age, our choices and our decisions become easier as we start to realize that more things are outside of our control. Instead, I realized that it just doesn't get easier.
Well, I'm getting emotional. When my husband died, within 5 months, I would have done anything to change that for him. I couldn't. So I prayed about it and I thought, you know what? We're all going to go through this situation. I can't change it, but all I know is someday I will see him again.
After this moment, we both just sat with tears in our eyes. Her eyes were filled with, it is what it is, and mine were filled with the anger of knowing she's right.
And that's why I always say that saying, because everybody's going to die sooner or later. We didn't know he was going to go that fast. And that was a changing point for me. That's something I couldn't change. All I knew is all our family just had to be there for him. And we have moved on. And I think it got our family closer because of that situation. So that's why I don't sweat the small stuff. Because everything just seems to work out.
There's a key concept in Stoicism that believes that we don't have control over external events. Rather, we only have control over our thoughts, decisions, opinions, and responsibilities. Happiness and freedom begin with the understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control and some things are not. In 2019, my air mattress was my favorite possession. I was in the middle of a move from Virginia to Maryland to maybe Atlanta. All of my possessions were either listed on Facebook Marketplace, stuffed inside trash bags for Goodwill, or finagled inside some boxes just to fit perfectly into my car. The night before I left, I sat on the floor of my old apartment with my 72-year-old best friend, boxes in the corner and the air mattress just lying deflated. I never thought that a piece of air-filled plastic would be more valuable than my camera or even my toothbrush, but there I was clinging to it like it was my last breath. It was that 72-year-old friend who recommended me getting an air mattress. He knew that there was going to be a lot of unknowns coming, a lot of things that were simply outside of my control. But he knew the value of what a decent night of sleep can do. For me, it was in that moment that I saw the power of what just one thing in our control can do when there are seemingly thousands of others outside of it. There's so many times we just have to roll with the punches, and the only control that we have is the preparation of never knowing what's next. It's scary, uncomfortable, and unnerving at times when we choose to give up the control that we thought that we have. But there's so much freedom in knowing that we just never had it to begin with. Don't get me wrong, I tried to change so much that was out of my control, even when I had the mattress in hand. I tried to make things go faster, tried to put more things on my plate, and tried to keep up with the people who influenced me the most. It was at the end of the night that I would see how exhausted I made myself with just trying to make the next plot line. I still don't have it all figured out, and I don't think I ever will in all of its entirety. But what I'm realizing is that when the anxiety rises, the uneasiness starts to settle in, and when things start to seemingly go out of our control, we have the ability to influence our reactions.
I really don't mind change now, because change to me always gets something better, and you learn from the change. That's the biggest thing I could say, is actually you do learn from the change in your life. And I thank God that we do go through that. We have the ups and downs of our lives, but we always seem to get over the hump. There'll always be something else, and then we go on again. And it always seems to work out okay. For me in my life, it has.
In the race that seems to just live in all of our heads, I hope that we can gain some wisdom from the childlike wonder of Mr. Rogers, who says, "I wonder if we might pledge ourselves to remember what life is really all about. Not to be afraid that we're less flashy than the next. Not to worry that our influence is not that of a tornado, but rather that of a grain of sand in an oyster. Do we have that kind of patience?" Do you have that kind of patience that works diligently in spite of pressure? Or the patience that says you're making something beautiful? Stop thinking about all the setbacks. Do you have the patience that says, what are you trying to control that's taking the place of what you can actually be working on? I hope that we can all simply work diligently, reside in patience, rest well, and when things seemingly go out of our control, just say, it is what it is.